feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy.
Good evening, ghosts and ghouls. It's the one, the only JT Ripper.
And I'm Todd of Thunder.
And you're listening to one horrible fucking podcast. And we're back yet again with a movie review and a little bit of a franchise kind of background, talking about Terrifier 2.
Yes, indeed. We went to see this film the other day. And...
Woo!
Yeah! We're going to give you our review of this film.
All right, thoughts. Well, we'll go to a little background with it. So it all started out from an anthology film called All Hallows Eve, which you can watch on Tubi for free, and you can actually watch Terrifier for free also on Tubi. So if you have time, check out those two, and then come and watch the new one, which I would kind of recommend watching at least Terrifier before watching Terrifier 2, because you might be a little lost, but it does a pretty good job holding your hand.
Yeah, it will at least give you... It doesn't really, as far as story goes, it doesn't really give you any more information going into Terrifier 2, but it will at least give you some understanding about what Art the Clown is all about.
Yeah, it also lets you know what you're in store, because if you love the first one, you're going to love the second one. It's a goodie.
Yeah. For those that have seen the first one, that complain that it's a great movie, it's a great gore and bloodfest type of film, a splatter film, if you will, but it really didn't have a story to it.
Yeah.
You guys got your wish, because Terrifier 2, not only do you get all of the splatter and the gore and everything else, but you actually get a story with this one. So
told very well.
But yeah, you want to start off? Give your thoughts on it.
As far as like gore goes, it's definitely, it takes the first one and turns it up to 10.
Absolutely.
It is very, very gory. I understand, like, I read online that they were having people get sick at the theater, and I guess if you are squeamish, you might get a little sick, but I mean, to your horror
yeah, this is
club, so to speak, you're
this
gonna love
is
it.
Not for first beginners in horror movies.
Yeah.
This is not a gateway movie in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
This is hardcore, initiated gore fans that are into that kind of thing. If you're not into that and you're used to just the mainstream Hollywood-style horror films that came out, which is nothing wrong with that.
No.
You might not get this. You might not like it. You might not even appreciate it, but us horror fans that have been watching these types of films for years and years,
That love their carnage candy.
yeah, we not only love the big mainstream franchises, but when we can see a movie that's kind of a love letter to us, as far as giving us what we want, giving us the body count, giving us the gore, giving us the splatter, we certainly appreciate it. And Terrifier 2 delivers on all levels and succeeds on all levels, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. It picks up where part 1 leaves off.
And that's about it as far as callbacks from the first film.
Spoilers, if you don't want to listen, now is probably the time to tune out, but we're about to dive into some stuff. The ending, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, you have this girl, and her brother's kind of obsessed with murderers, and he gets, into Art the Clown, and he actually wants to be Art for Halloween. And that's kind of like where it kind of starts, and then all of a sudden you see Art and you don't really know why he's back or how he's back, because he was pretty fucking dead in the first one.
Yeah, he's pretty dead in the first one, and in this film, it's certainly a the ending of the first film kind of suggested that there's kind of a supernatural thing going on here.
Yeah.
And that's certainly the case with part 2.
And then, as they're talking about, this Art the Clown, and then they're talking about the past tragic events, and Mom didn't want him to dress up as that. She thought it was too much. And then you're following, his sister's the main final girl of the movie. And she's going with, this tragedy that they lost their dad several years ago.
I don't know. They never really.
They didn't really give a time.
Specify.
Yeah, they didn't really give a timeline to it, but he was an artist, and then they kind of discover some drawings, and it happens to be victims of Art, and like visions of like from the first killings and stuff like that, and then the final picture was Art the Clown. But you're going through, and it's the mom's trying the best she can, and she doesn't know how to handle it. And now thinking about it, she actually did a pretty decent job of being a disturbed mom.
Yeah, she
being a bitch.
She
so to
pretty
speak.
much acted like how any other mom would. The kind of stereotypical, overprotective, but yet not quite understanding their children type of deal.
Yeah. So they're going through this stuff, and Art kind of makes himself present, and then all of a sudden he runs across her in it kind of looked like a Spirit of Halloween
Store.
Yeah, type store, and then that's when he started following her, and it seemed like honestly he was kind of looking for her when he's all of a sudden comes back into the picture. That's the kind of vibe I got.
Yeah, it's like once he locked eyes on her, it was like somehow he knew that this girl and her family was the one to go after. They never really explained why, but
yet
it doesn't throw you off of the story, or it doesn't it keeps you interested.
Yeah.
Even though in this film not a whole lot of questions were answered. As a matter of fact, it created more questions, but it was one of those films where you went on a journey with it, and there were some stops along the way, and you were right on board with this ride, because what they gave you is exactly what I said earlier. The gore, the splatter, whatever you want to call it, it's a love letter to the fans. That's what this movie's about. Right. It just happens to have a pretty decent storyline to it, where most slashers or splatter films really kind of lack on that. This one actually gives you a story, but like I said, it doesn't necessarily explain it all, which is good, because that leaves open to more sequels.
Which I want. I want more Art the Clown in my life.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the ending of this film a little bit later on when we get to it. But as far as I can't stop talking about the death scenes in this, because it really is one of those horror films where it is it's gore heaven. It really is.
The practical effects,
yes.
I can't preach enough in this movie. That they keep it old school. It's no cutaway scenes. I don't think at all, actually.
No, and in some of the scenes they actually stay purposely longer in the scenes just to kind of disturb you a little bit.
Yeah, there was one kill in particular that was cool, and then it got I was kind of like, all right, now you're beating a dead horse. Literally.
Yeah, there was that.
Just that one kill.
Yeah, just that one kill. It was kind of overboard with it, but
then again, I think that's going to be kind of Art's stick, because he kind of did that in the first one too.
Yeah, it kind of does it. It's designed to give you how like sick he is and how demented, and the fact that they can do this. They're showing you what they can do with their team that made this movie. Yeah. It was some of the best. I don't know who they used as their head of their special effects department, but
hats off to you.
Yeah, they did a really, really good job. I mean, this movie was crowdfunded.
Yeah.
So, and
it is made for
it's definitely
that
made
crowd,
for fans.
That or us. I'm gonna say us because I'm a part of that crowd because I love Terrifier.
And they certainly used, every bit of revenue that they got that people, pitched in to help. This was like 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
And it does not feel like it at all.
No, it doesn't feel like it because you're having a really good time while you're watching it. You're confused, but you're wanting to know what's next. But the kills are keeping you into it. Yeah. So overall, it was great. I mean, it certainly sets up a third,
fourth, fifth.
Yeah, fourth, honestly. Fifth.
I can see this being more than a trilogy.
It's not your run-of-the-mill, typical Hollywood theatrical horror movie.
No.
This is, some people would call it like B-rated or, lowbrow or whatever, but...
B for brilliant.
Yeah. This film, like I said... don't expect this to go to all theaters. This one didn't even go to all theaters. We had to
drive like
we drive like half an hour to see this in another town. So
but we also did it for Devil's Rejects. It was the same theater actually.
Well,
not Devil's Rejects. Excuse me, 3 from Hell.
Yeah, it was 3 from Hell.
But
it was one of those things. It was in selected theaters. So, but let's jump into the ending. Tell us what you thought about the ending.
Ooh, well. To give one thing, when we kind of see Art for the first time, you see him like naked in a dry cleaner after he's washing his clothes after he killed somebody, and like this guy wakes up from a nap that's in the dry cleaners, and he's playing patty cake with this little girl. You see that, but when a guy's looking at him, you just see Art,
right,
playing patty cake with air, which was weird. That kind of threw me for a loop. You see this little girl throughout the whole movie, and then it's kind of...
I guess it's presumed to be...
The first girl he kills?
Yeah, the first
possibly?
Girl. Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to go for, because they do have an article in the film, or when they're doing research on art or whatever, that article does come up about this like little girl that disappeared from like this carnival type of deal.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she was supposed to be represented. And I believe if this is the first person he killed, it's probably stayed with him throughout,
Possibly.
all of this. It's like, one of those things you always remember your first.
Yeah. And she kind of plays a role towards the end because... of course, the final girl has the final fight with him, and she fucking kills him in brutal fashion, like, she should.
Yeah, everything in this film is excess and brutal.
Yes, very. And, his head gets chopped right off his fucking shoulders, and the little girl picks it up and does the whole creepy baby thing with it, and you don't really know what's going on. And then it kind of cuts off towards the end of it.
Yeah,
and then it's like kind of a mid post credit scene.
Yeah, the mid post credit scene, which does absolutely nothing but open up more questions. But it was cool seeing a little cameo from Chris Jericho.
Yeah, Chris Jericho was in it, and he's playing a guard at a insane asylum where the
one of Art's early victims,
they got mutilated, is in there, and then all of a sudden, she starts having a very violent period and taking the blood and putting it on the walls, and it's kind of a Stockholm syndrome of, like her and Art together, and then she's writing all this love stuff and crazy stuff on the wall, and then it kind of cuts back and she's like pregnant. No time has passed. It's just like split like couple minutes, and then they start screaming. They run down the hall, and then she starts like gushing blood and gives birth to Art the Clown's head.
Yeah, this is kind of where this...
It's awake. Like his eyes are moving and he's smiling.
This is kind of where the supernatural shit comes in, but it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, don't take this movie like you're watching a Halloween movie. Because
by the way, we're trying to explain a splatter film to you with a storyline. So if it sounds fucked up,
it is.
It is fucked up.
It is fucked up. And that's the great thing about splatter films, is that they're fucked up. And this is like your 2022 best like splatter film with a great storyline.
Yeah, we're not sitting here saying that this storyline...
This is no fucking Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, this isn't Silence of the Lambs type of story. This is a splatter film. This is a slasher film. This is a gore film that happens to have a storyline in it.
And a great story at that.
It's a great story, but it fits that world. So,
yeah.
If you're listening and you're confused and you're like, this film sounds fucking stupid, trust me, you just have to watch it and then you'll get it.
Yes.
So, after we've explained it to you all a little bit, I'm going to jump into, like, my favorite kill of the film.
All right.
And I'm going to have to go with the guy that was working at the Halloween store. Old school, just chopped his, like right up there in the hairline. Just whack.
Yeah.
That one, I think I was impressed with that as far as, like, you could tell it was a practical effect.
Yeah.
And to me, that's so reminiscent of the 80s right there, this is kind of a love letter back to the 80s as well. And, with the electronical 80s sounding music soundtrack in it as well. But that was my favorite kill in the whole film. And there's plenty of deaths, so... what's yours?
You kind of took mine, but I'll talk about another scene. I enjoyed the over-the-top kill scene until it went a little bit long.
Yeah.
When she got scalped, that was fucking brutal.
Yeah, she died like 4 times.
Yeah, it's like, why won't you die, bitch?
Yeah, she was a tough old victim.
Honestly, one that got me, that kind of shocked me, was when the mom was like trying to clean the stuff off of her car that she thought her son like vandalized, and then like she wipes it real quick, and then Art the Clown shoots her in the fucking face with a sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah.
And just blows her fucking, like just mutilates her.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see it coming. I mean, I kind of, like, thought something was going to, like, I thought it was going to be a kill, but I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I was expecting Art to maybe get out of the car and chase her and maybe, play a little cat and mouse with her. I wasn't expecting a blast right offhand. Yeah,
and to kind of piggyback on something else, I don't get scared when I watch movies. Like jump scares really don't get me. Honest to God, this movie got me twice. Like, I jumped. That doesn't happen, at all. And this movie legitimately got me twice. Like, the way they cut it was perfect. And, I love this movie. This is a must buy. If we're talking like VHS, DVD own, I will definitely be buying this one.
Yeah, this one is definitely, gonna go down into the cult classic category. This is gonna go down into the hardcore horror fans. You know, when we talk about our movies that we really love, this one is definitely going to be on there. It's a great theater experience. So if you get an opportunity to go see this film, it'll be fun. You know.
Yeah, it's going back in theaters this weekend, actually.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
But I honestly think that they done such a good job that this is going to be a future horror icon.
Oh yeah, I think he's kind of already, at least to us. It may take the mainstream audiences to catch up, but yeah, he's up there. I mean, he's brutal. He's memorable.
Yeah, he's mysterious, and he doesn't talk.
Yeah. And the great thing about it is, you know, the guy that plays Art the Clown and the director of these films, they do these horror conventions. They do them all over the country. So
Which I'm praying happens soon.
Yeah, the more and more people meet them, the more and more popular they get. So they're definitely fan friendly. My overall thoughts, I'm going to, you know, when I first saw it, I tried to process it all. And I think my original score was 8. No, it was 7.5 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Now thinking back on it and having a couple days to process it all, I'm actually going to bump it up to an 8. I might even go as far as to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to stay. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I feel like, even though it left some questions open, I feel like this is for sure going to be followed up by a third movie, or if you count All Hallows Eve, it'll be a fourth movie. No, it would be a third movie. I don't know. I can't remember.
3. It'd be 3.
It'd be 3. Okay. The next one would be 3.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, 4. The next one would be 4.
Well, God damn it. Ain't that what I said?
Yeah, putz!
God damn it, we're both fucking idiots. Anyway, I'm sticking with 8.5 out of 10, and I'm going to call this Gore Heaven. That's the way that I can describe this film in a nutshell.
I agree with you on that, actually. I'm almost tempted to give it a 9, but I'm not going to go that far because, yeah, I don't normally like to do, like, halves, but I feel like 8.5 is very justifiable with this. It's a part 2 that triumphs number 1. They keep it over the top. They make it fun. They keep the music I think the score is actually better in this one, actually. Now thinking about it.
Yeah, it's very memorable. It's got that, like I said, it's got that electronic 80s type of sound to it.
Yeah,
and
some horror throwbacks in it too. You get a Halloween throwback. You get a Nightmare on Elm Street throwback. A couple other ones. I need to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, it's a rewatchable movie.
But yeah, definitely a 8.5 out of 10 and a badass seal of approval, so to speak. So if you get the chance, watch it, buy it, rent it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it definitely gets 2 bloody knives up for me.
Nice. Well, this has been fun. This has been real, and it's been real fun. I'm JT Ripper.
And I'm Todd of Thunder. Toodaloo.
And you're all fucked.